Have you ever wondered why some Power Apps forms feel clunky, while others flow like a dream? Stick around, because in this video, we're revealing the secret ingredients that turn basic forms into powerful user-friendly tools. It's all about leveraging advanced components like subgrids and quick view forms. By the end of this tutorial, you'll not only understand what makes these forms tick, but also why they matter for your app's success. Think streamlined data, better usability, and an app experience your entire team will love. What makes model-driven forms so powerful? Model-driven forms are often considered the backbone of Power Apps, but what makes them so powerful? It all comes down to their structured design and the way they interact seamlessly with your app's data. Unlike Canvas apps, which offer total creative freedom, model-driven apps work within a predefined structure. This structure may seem limiting at first, but it's precisely this framework that makes them so reliable, scalable, and user-friendly, especially when you're working with complex data models. At the core of every model-driven app is the form, which serves as the interface between your app's data and its users. When you build a model-driven app, these forms are automatically generated based on the data tables or entities that you've configured in your Dataverse. Think about how much time that saves compared to manually designing and linking forms to your data fields. You don't have to start from scratch. Instead, you get a head start with forms that are functional right out of the box and ready to customize to meet your specific needs. Here's another key advantage. These forms are consistent. Whether your users are accessing your app on a desktop, tablet, or mobile device, they'll have a uniform experience. The layout and data remain intact, so users can focus on their tasks without worrying about how the app behaves on different devices. This is something that sets model-driven apps apart from Canvas apps, where you're responsible for optimizing every detail of the design for various screen sizes. In model-driven apps, the platform takes care of a lot of this heavy lifting for you, but just because the framework is structured doesn't mean it's rigid. Forms in model-driven apps are incredibly flexible when it comes to functionality and layout, allowing you to customize them to suit your business requirements. For example, you can rearrange fields, add new sections, or even embed advanced components like subgrids to display related data. These advanced features are where forms really begin to shine, offering tools and layouts that streamline how users interact with information. Let's take subgrids as an example. Subgrids allow you to display multiple related records within the same form. Imagine managing the sales application and being able to see a list of all the contacts, leads, or opportunities for a single account without navigating through separate screens. This does more than save time. It reduces cognitive load, making it easier for users to focus on what matters most. We'll explore subgrids in more detail later, but their transformative impact on forms is undeniable. Now, one big challenge when working with any app is finding the balance between functionality and user experience. On the one hand, you want your forms to be as robust and comprehensive as possible to cover all the bases for your users. On the other hand, cramming too much information or too many features onto a single screen can overwhelm users and make your app feel cluttered. Striking this balance is an art, and model-driven forms give you the tools to paint that picture effectively. They provide structure, which helps guide your design decisions, but they're also flexible enough to let you include various features and workflows that enhance usability. By integrating advanced components like subgrids and even quick view forms, which we'll touch on later, you gain the ability to surface the right data at the right time. This minimizes unnecessary navigation and interruptions to your workflow. Instead of clicking around your app to find related information, you can keep everything your users need front and center. Remember, forms in model-driven apps aren't just about putting fields on a page. They're about creating a logical flow of information that guides your users through their tasks. This sense of order is critical in improving efficiency, especially when dealing with apps that manage large quantities of data. Whether it's streamlining operations for service agents, enabling better decision-making for managers, or simply making day-to-day tasks more intuitive for users, forms are central to how data is organized and used. Another major strength of model-driven forms is that they inherently encourage good design practices. The structured nature of these forms ensures that you start with a clean and organized layout. From there, it's up to you to enhance it with thoughtful customizations. But even as you make modifications, the underlying design principles remain intact, keeping your forms aligned with a consistent user experience. And this consistency extends beyond the app itself. Because model-driven forms are built on Microsoft Dataverse, they automatically align with the data models you've already set up. If you've defined relationships between tables, like an account having multiple associated contacts, those relationships map directly onto your forms. You don't need to worry about manually connecting the dots. The platform does this for you. So you can focus on how the data is displayed and interacted with rather than how it's linked in the back end. Of course, the true power of model-driven forms lies in their ability to scale with your app. As your app grows more complex, incorporating additional workflows, data sources, or functionality, these forms grow with it. You can layer in advanced components, streamline processes, or refine layouts without needing to overhaul your app's entire structure. This scalability ensures that your app remains a reliable tool for your users, no matter how much your organization's needs evolve. But here's something to keep in mind. While model-driven forms excel in providing structure and scalability, they aren't one-size-fits-all. There's an art to using them effectively, especially when deciding how to optimize their layout and components. This is where the design process comes into play. Elements like headers, tabs, sections, and fields aren't just organizational tools. They're opportunities to enhance the user experience. For example, grouping related fields into sections can reduce visual clutter, while organizing content into tabs can make navigation more intuitive. These layout features play a pivotal role in whether your forms feel seamless or clunky. And speaking of layout, we'll soon explore how responsive design ensures that these forms look and function well across different devices. But for now, let's focus on how the structure and scalability of model-driven forms set the stage for these more advanced design considerations. So why are model-driven forms considered the backbone of Power Apps? It comes down to their unique combination of structure, flexibility, and scalability. They make it easier to organize data in a way that's intuitive for users while providing the framework needed to support increasingly complex requirements. Whether you're building a simple app for managing contacts or a robust enterprise solution tracking end-to-end workflows, forms are the central hub connecting users to the information they need. As we move forward, we'll dive deeper into the specific components that make these forms so effective, starting with basic layout options and building up to advanced features like subgrids. We'll explore how you can craft forms that deliver maximum value. By mastering these tools, you'll be equipped to create apps that not only look great, but also function seamlessly in any environment. Building the basics. Key components of a model-driven form. When you look at a model-driven form, what you're seeing is the result of several individual parts working together seamlessly. But how do those pieces come together to deliver a user-friendly experience that feels both organized and intuitive? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this section. Understanding the core building blocks of a model-driven form like headers, tabs, and sections is the first step toward mastering the fundamentals and unlocks the potential for more advanced features down the road. Let's start with the main components. At the top of any model-driven form, you'll find the header. This is where key information about the record is displayed at a glance, making it one of the most important and visible parts of the form. Think about a customer account record, for instance. The header might include the account name, phone number, and account owner, all details that are frequently needed but don't necessarily require scrolling through the main body of the form. The header stays fixed at the top, so no matter how much data the form contains, critical information is always easily accessible. It's compact, simple, and effective. Beneath the header, forms are organized into tabs. Tabs are a way of categorizing and grouping content within a form. Rather than overwhelming users with too much information on a single page, tabs allow you to break things into parts that are easier to absorb. For example, in a sales app, one tab could focus on general account details, like the company's address and contact numbers. Another tab could display financial information such as past invoices or current payment status. Tabs not only help organize the form, but also make navigation more intuitive by guiding users through different sections of data in a clear and logical way. Within each tab, you'll find sections, which are used to group related fields or data points together. Sections act almost like chapters in a book, dividing the content into smaller, more digestible chunks. For instance, you might create a section within a tab for personal contact details, name, email, and phone number, and another section for business-specific data like role and department. These groupings make it easier for users to find the information they're looking for and interact with the form efficiently. Instead of scanning through a long, unstructured list of fields, users can focus their attention on one section at a time. Now, while headers, tabs, and sections sound straightforward, new users often struggle when it comes to customizing these components effectively. One of the challenges is knowing how much to include in each area. For example, it's tempting to load up the header with every key field you think users might need, but overcrowding the header can make it look cluttered and hard to read. Similarly, adding too many tabs or creating sections with overlapping or unrelated data can confuse users and make your form feel disorganized. Balancing what to include and where is often harder than it seems. Let's take a practical example to see how these components come together. Imagine you're creating a form for managing employee records. In the header, you might show the employee's name, ID number, and current job title, the essentials that users will often reference. Below that, you could structure the tabs to follow a logical flow. Personal details in one tab, payroll or salary information in another, and employment history in a third. Within the Personal Details tab, sections might include basic contact info as one group and emergency contact details as another. This layered approach keeps all the information available while ensuring users aren't overwhelmed when they first open the form. What's great about each of these components, headers, tabs, and sections, is that they're not just static elements. Power Apps makes them highly customizable, giving you the flexibility to design forms that meet specific business needs. For example, you can choose which fields appear in the header and rearrange their positions for better visibility. You might decide that some fields only need to be visible on certain tabs, or for specific user roles, administrators can also apply conditional formatting to highlight fields dynamically based on the data entered. This level of customization allows you to make forms not only functional but also visually clear and user-friendly. Customizing tabs is another opportunity to enhance functionality. You're not limited to just displaying static information. You can set up tabs that include interactive components like subgrids or embedded charts to provide deep insights right from the form. Take a project management app, for example. You could create a Tasks tab that includes a subgrid showing all tasks associated with the project, complete with their status and due dates. This turns what would otherwise be a static form into a dynamic workspace that supports more efficient workflows. Sections too offer room for customization. You can adjust the width and layout of sections to prioritize key data or create a cleaner design. For instance, if you're working with a field service app, you might design one section wide enough to include a map showing the customer's service location, with smaller sections below for scheduling details and technician notes. By customizing sections thoughtfully, you can create a form that feels tailored to your business needs, while keeping the interface manageable for users. While the customization options are powerful, it's important not to lose sight of usability. One pitfall to avoid when customizing forms is adding too many elements in the name of functionality. Just because you can customize something doesn't always mean you should. For example, a form with 10 tabs and multiple sections on each tab might technically provide all the information your users need, but the sheer amount of content could end up making the form more confusing than helpful. A general rule of thumb is to keep things as streamlined as possible while still meeting the primary requirements for your app's use case. Mastering these building blocks, headers, tabs, and sections, is crucial for creating a strong foundation in your model-driven forms. Once you understand how they work together and how to customize them effectively, you can start to explore the more advanced features that really set Power Apps apart. For instance, tools like Subgrids or Quick View forms build on these core components to enhance what's possible within a single form. But without a clear understanding of the basics, incorporating advanced features can feel like adding complexity without purpose. So, before we move on to those advanced topics, take a moment to review the structure of forms you're already working with or planning to build. Ask yourself questions like, does the header highlight the most important data? Are related fields grouped together logically within sections? Are tabs helping to organize the content, or are there too many tabs distracting from the flow of information? By ensuring these basic elements are well designed, you'll have a much easier time scaling your form with additional features in the future. In the next section, we're going to explore an advanced component that's a game changer for many apps, subgrids. By letting you display related records directly within a form, subgrids open up new possibilities for how users interact with data. But to truly make the most of subgrids, the layout and structure we've just discussed need to be solid first. With headers, tabs, and sections working together as a seamless foundation, you'll be in the perfect position to elevate your model-driven forms. Subgrids. Unlocking related data at a glance. Subgrids are one of the most powerful tools you can use in a model-driven Power App, especially when it comes to displaying related data within the same form. They transform how users interact with information by reducing the need to navigate between multiple screens. But what exactly are subgrids and why are they so impactful? A subgrid is essentially a grid or table displayed within a form. It lets you show related records tied to the one you're viewing, all without leaving the current context. For instance, if you're working within an account record, a subgrid could display all the contacts associated with that account. Rather than navigating back and forth between the account screen and the contact list, users see everything they need in one place. This single component can save time and prevent unnecessary interruptions in workflow. The value of subgrids becomes even clearer the more complex your app gets. Take a sales management app as an example. You might have a table for accounts that stores company information and another table for opportunities which tracks leads or deals associated with those companies. Without subgrids, a user might have to exit an account record, locate the opportunities module, and manually search for leads tied to the account they were just viewing. It's easy to see how this back and forth could become frustrating. Subgrids eliminate this issue by linking the data directly on the account form so users can see and interact with all opportunities related to a specific account without breaking their train of thought. Customizing subgrids also adds to their appeal. By default, subgrids display key columns from the related table, which is often the most basic information like names and statuses. But what if you want to make that view more actionable or user-friendly? You can customize the subgrid to show fields that matter most to your users. For instance, in an app for event management, a subgrid on an event record might feature columns like attendee names, ticket types, and check-in statuses. By tailoring the grid view, you ensure users are seeing the data that's most relevant to their tasks. Another key feature of subgrids is their built-in filtering and sorting options. Users can click on column headers to reorganize the data however they need, such as sorting a list of leads by deal value or filtering events by date. Imagine how much time this saves when working with large data sets. Instead of exporting data or running separate queries, users can handle these tasks directly within the form. This reduces not only time spent navigating, but also the cognitive effort needed to find the information they're looking for. Subgrids can also be designed to support additional functionality like inline editing. This is a huge time saver as it allows users to edit fields in the subgrid without opening each related record individually. For example, in a project tracking app, users might want to update the statuses of several tasks associated with the same project. Instead of clicking into each task record one by one, they can update the statuses right within the subgrid on the project form. This immediate interactivity makes your app feel more responsive and intuitive for users. The benefits of subgrids aren't just limited to user efficiency, they also simplify app design for developers. If you've structured your data relationships correctly in Dataverse, adding a subgrid to a form is straightforward. You simply insert the subgrid, specify the related table, and configure the view you want to display. The relationships between tables like parent-child or many-to-many are already set up. That means the subgrid automatically pulls the correct set of related records, saving you from the tedious process of manually configuring these connections. There's also a level of scalability built into subgrids that makes them ideal for enterprise-grade apps. As the number of records in your app grows, subgrids continue to work effectively. They adapt to display large data volumes without compromising the consistency of the form layout. Of course, performance can be optimized with some thoughtful configurations. For instance, you might choose to limit the number of records displayed in a subgrid to ensure that loading times remain fast, especially on mobile devices. You might also prioritize certain columns over others to reduce the amount of unnecessary data being rendered. Because subgrids are so dynamic, they work seamlessly across different screen sizes. The form's responsive layout ensures the subgrid adjusts to fit smaller devices. That way, users working on a tablet or phone can still view and interact with related data without losing functionality. However, It's always a good practice to test your forms on multiple devices to make sure everything displays and functions as intended as you design forms with subgrids. One strategic consideration is how many you include and where you position them. It's tempting to add a subgrid for every related table in your database. After all, the data relationships are already there, and displaying them in a form seems logical. But adding too many subgrids can lead to cluttered forms and overwhelm users. For example, an account form with subgrids for contacts, opportunities, recent emails, and service requests might seem comprehensive, but users could find it difficult to navigate. Striking a balance between comprehensive and cluttered is key. Focus on what's essential to a specific use case, and avoid overloading forms with unnecessary details. Another consideration is how subgrids complement other advanced components in model-driven apps, like quick view forms. While subgrids are excellent for displaying multiple related records, quick view forms serve a different purpose, showing detailed information from a single parent record. For instance, on a contact form, a subgrid might show a list of recent cases the contact has raised, while a quick view form could display high-level details about the account they're associated with. Using these two components together, each serving a distinct role, creates a more cohesive and user-friendly experience. Subgrids summarize the many, while quick view forms provide an overview of the one. To summarize, subgrids fundamentally change how users interact with data in a model-driven app by bringing related records directly into the form. They boost efficiency by eliminating the need for constant screen switching and provide better context by keeping linked information visible at all times. Their customization options, from selecting fields to enabling inline editing, make them adaptable for any use case, while their performance and responsiveness ensure they work well on various devices. Whether you're building a sales app, customer service tool, or project tracker, subgrids empower users to access and manage related data more effectively. In the next section, we'll look at quick view forms, another advanced component that's perfect for working with related data. If subgrids let you see everything at a glance, quick view forms allow you to focus in on key details without leaving the page. Together, these tools unlock even more possibilities for creating powerful data-driven forms in your app. Quick view forms, a snapshot of parent data. Quick view forms are one of those features in model-driven power apps that can instantly elevate how your users interact with data, especially when it comes to parent-child relationships. But what exactly are they, and how can you use them effectively in your forms? Let's break it down. Imagine this. You're working on a contact record in your app, and you suddenly need to reference the parent account's details, things like the account name, address, or credit limit. Without quick view forms, you would likely need to leave the contact record, navigate to the account table, open the specific account record, find the data you need, and then navigate back to the contact form. That's a lot of clicks for something as simple as a quick reference, isn't it? This constant back and forth disrupts your workflow and makes the app experience less efficient. Quick view forms solve this issue by letting you display parent record details directly within the child records form, without the need to open a new window or lose your current context. Here's how it works. Quick view forms are read-only layouts that display fields from a related table, in this case the parent table. They're embedded into the child records form, allowing users to quickly reference parent-level data without leaving the page they're working on. The information in a quick view form is tied to the relationship defined in Dataverse. So, as long as you've set up a one-to-many or many-to-one connection between your tables, you can insert a quick view form into the child form. For example, let's say you've got a sales app where accounts serve as the parent table and contacts are the child table. When a user is viewing a contact form, the quick view form could appear in a section of the layout showing key account details like company size, account owner, and annual revenue. These fields come directly from the parent account record, so the user doesn't need to navigate away from the contact form. It's all right there on the same page, neatly integrated into the layout. The structure of quick view forms makes them incredibly flexible for showing simplified, relevant snapshots of data. Unlike subgrids, which focus on displaying multiple related records, Quick view forms are ideal for summarizing the details of a single related record. This simplicity makes them particularly useful for parent-child relationships where the main concern is accessing parent information quickly and efficiently. For example, if you're working on a sales opportunity record, a quick view form could display details about the associated account, such as its name, billing address, and industry. This lets sales reps view the context they need to work on the opportunity without opening a separate record. As useful as quick view forms are, it's important to think strategically about when to use them compared to other components like subgrids. Subgrids excel when you need to display a list of related records, such as all opportunities tied to an account or all service cases associated with a specific contact. But when the relationship is simpler and users only need a snapshot of the parent record, quick view forms are the better choice. Let's go back to the contact and account example. If you're on a contact form and want to see details about the associated account, a quick view form is perfect because it provides clarity without overwhelming the form with lots of extra data. On the flip side, if you're on an account form and want to see all the related contacts, a subgrid works better because it shows multiple records that the user may need to take action on. One of the powerful things about quick view forms is their ability to aggregate key parent data even when users don't have direct visibility into the parent table. For instance, if someone has access to contact records but limited access to account records, you can design the quick view form to display only the necessary account details that the user is authorized to see. In this way, quick view forms not only enhance efficiency but also respect the permissions and security roles defined in your app. Let's talk about customization. Quick view forms are built in the same form designer as the main forms in Power Apps, but you'll notice they're much simpler by design. Since they're read-only, you pick and choose which fields to display without worrying about adding interactive controls like buttons, editable grids, or input fields. For example, in an employee records app, you could configure a quick view form to display the manager's name, email, and department on the employee's form. These fields wouldn't need to be editable since their purpose is strictly for reference. Positioning also matters when integrating quick view forms into your layout. You don't want the form taking up so much space that it overwhelms the rest of the content, but it should still be visible and accessible. A common approach is to place quick view forms in a section within a tab that's relevant to the context. For example, if you're building a customer service app, you might include a quick view form in a customer details tab on a service case record. This layout ensures the parent data is available where it's most needed without cluttering the rest of the form. Performance is another area where quick view forms shine. Unlike subgrids, which have to fetch and render multiple records, a quick view form only needs to pull data from a single related record. This means they load faster and put less strain on device and app performance, especially in situations where users are working with large datasets or using the app on mobile devices with slower connections. Because of this efficiency, quick view forms are a great option for providing a consistent experience across devices. It's also worth noting that these forms are read only by design, which can sometimes work in your favor. Because users can't edit the data displayed in a quick view form, there's less risk of accidental changes or errors. For workflows that need to emphasize data accuracy, for instance, financial reports or compliance records, quick view forms ensure users can reference the data they need while maintaining its integrity. So how do quick view forms improve efficiency overall? The short answer is accessibility. By embedding parent details directly into the child form, you're saving users from a lot of unnecessary clicks and page loads. This keeps workflows streamlined and reduces the amount of time spent switching focus, especially in apps that handle complex tasks or manage relationships between large numbers of records. Whether it's a salesperson needing account insights, a technician referencing client details, or a recruiter checking hiring manager information, quick view forms deliver the right data at the right time. But quick view forms aren't a standalone solution. Pairing them with other components like subgrids or responsive layouts can take your forms to the next level. For example, consider an app where users handle service cases. A quick view form could display high-level customer details like account status or contact preferences, while a subgrid in another section lists all the open tickets for that customer. This combination gives the user both context and actionability within the same form. Before we move on, let's recap where quick view forms fit into your app design strategy. They're best used when the goal is to provide a snapshot of parent data that supports tasks within a child record. They don't replace subgrids, which are better for showing lists of related records, but they do complement them to create more comprehensive and user-friendly forms. Think of quick view forms as your go-to tool for solving the "what if I need parent info right now" challenge. As we transition into the next topic, keep this in mind. Advanced features like quick view forms and subgrids aren't just about displaying data, they're about creating a seamless flow of information that keeps users engaged and productive, no matter the complexity of your app. Next, we'll explore how combining features like these with responsive layouts ensures that your forms look great and function smoothly on any device. This is where design meets usability to unlock even greater potential for your model-driven apps. Responsive layouts, designing for every device. When it comes to designing forms in model-driven Power Apps, one challenge stands out. How do you make sure your form looks and functions well on every device? Whether users are on a desktop, tablet, or smartphone, the goal is the same. Forms should feel intuitive, accessible, and consistent. Some apps manage to achieve this perfectly, while others fall apart when viewed on smaller screens. So, what's the key to getting responsive design right in Power Apps? That's what we'll explore in this section. The foundation of a good responsive layout starts in the Form Designer, where Power Apps provides built-in features to help you create forms that adapt seamlessly to different screen sizes. The designer uses a "what you see is what you get," or WRSIOUYG interface, meaning you can see how your layout will look as you build it. This tool makes it easier to plan your layout with various devices in mind, even if you're not a design expert. By dragging and dropping components like tabs, sections, and fields, you can experiment with layouts that balance information while keeping things visually clean. Now, the main challenge in responsive design isn't just about making the form fit on smaller screens. It's about making sure it remains usable and efficient. When too much information is crammed into limited space, the result can feel cluttered, forcing users to scroll endlessly or zoom in just to find what they need. On the flip side, stripping out too much content risks oversimplifying the form and taking away important functionality. The balance between content and usability is what makes responsive design such an important skill for Power Apps creators. One of the first tips for creating responsive layouts is to pay close attention to tabs. Tabs are naturally helpful for dividing a form into specific categories, but they also play an important role in mobile usability. On larger screens, users can comfortably switch between multiple tabs without feeling overwhelmed. On smaller devices like phones, however, it's better to limit the total number of tabs. Too many can lead to excessive horizontal scrolling or confusing navigation. As a rule of thumb, try to prioritize the most important information and combine related content into fewer tabs when you're designing for mobile users. Sections play another critical role in responsive design. On desktop views, you can have multiple columns within a section. For example, you might display personal contact details in one column and business details in another. This side-by-side layout makes great use of horizontal space, but on a smaller device, like a smartphone, side-by-side layouts can quickly become unreadable. To address this, Power Apps forms automatically stack columns vertically when screen space is limited. Testing this behavior is essential to make sure the stacking order still makes logical sense. For instance, if the first column contains user-critical data like contact names and the second column contains secondary details like addresses, stacking them in the correct order ensures users see the most important fields first. Another consideration is how you organize parent sheet fields within sections. While it's possible to fit many fields into a single section, overloading it can become a usability issue, especially on mobile devices. It's best to group related fields together logically and avoid adding unnecessary ones that might confuse users or cause them to scroll more than necessary. Additionally, to improve readability, reserve larger fields, for example multi-line text fields, for areas with more screen space like tabs designed for desktop usage. The WYSIWYG form designer makes optimizing these layouts easier by letting you preview your forms as you design them. You can switch between different views, such as desktop and mobile, to see how your form responds to changes in screen size. This feature is invaluable for spotting potential layout issues before publishing your app. For example, you might notice that a tab with multiple sections looks great on a desktop, but becomes intimidating to navigate on a phone. Identifying these issues early allows you to make necessary adjustments, such as breaking larger sections into smaller ones or combining multiple fields into one. Another tip for smaller devices involves rethinking how much data you display by default. On larger screens, users expect to see more information at a glance, like lists or overviews of related records in subgrids. But when screen real estate is limited, showing everything at once can become overwhelming. Instead, consider using features like collapsible sections or expanding subgrids, which let users choose when to view more data. For example, a case management app might display basic details about assigned tasks initially, while allowing users to expand the section if they need to see subtasks or detailed descriptions. This kind of progressive disclosure ensures that the information on smaller devices remains streamlined while retaining depth for users who want to explore further. One of the most useful practices for improving responsive design is to test your form in multiple resolutions before your app goes live. Even though the form designer gives you some previews, real-world testing provides a more accurate idea of how users will experience the app. By trying out the app on a range of devices, such as a desktop monitor, a tablet in portrait mode, or a smartphone with different screen sizes, you can spot potential design flaws that might not have been obvious in the editor. For example, certain fields might appear too cramped on smaller screens, or tabs might require more scrolling than initially expected. Minor adjustments to spacing, section ordering, or even font sizes can often resolve these issues quickly. One of the key goals of responsive design is to achieve a happy, consistent user experience across all devices. When users move between a desktop and a phone, they should feel that the form is familiar even if it's displayed differently. To achieve this, focus on maintaining uniform priorities in your data presentation. For example, if the header on your form highlights key information like customer name and status on a desktop, ensure those same fields remain just as prominent on mobile. While the layouts may differ, maintaining this consistency ensures users can quickly adapt to whichever device they're using. Responsive design also allows you to design with usability patterns in mind. For example, mobile users often rely heavily on touch gestures, so ensure that interactive elements like buttons or links are spaced out to avoid accidental taps. Fields should have enough padding to make them easy to select, and collapsible sections or tabs should be clearly labeled for ease of navigation. Keep gestures like swiping or scrolling in mind when designing for mobile devices, but don't overlook desktop users who rely on mouse-friendly layouts. A good design strikes a balance that feels natural for both groups. At this point, you might wonder how responsive layouts fit into the broader app design process. Well, they're not just about aesthetics, they're about functionality. A form that adapts well to different devices is more than just user-friendly. It's a tool that improves productivity by making information more accessible. Imagine a field service app where technicians rely on their phones to review scheduling details and service history while on site. If the form doesn't display information clearly on a mobile device, it could delay their work and create frustration. By building a responsive layout, you're removing those barriers and allowing the form to perform just as reliably on a smartphone as it does on a desktop. It's also worth mentioning that while responsive layouts do a lot of the heavy lifting for adapting content to different screen sizes, they can't address every scenario on their own. Sometimes you'll need to take a step further by incorporating custom canvas pages into your model-driven apps. These pages allow you to design unique visualizations or workflows that go beyond the standard form layout, offering even more control over how information is displayed and interacted with. For example, you could create a custom dashboard that uses charts and KPIs to summarize large datasets, which might otherwise overwhelm a traditional form layout. By integrating these pages seamlessly into your app, you can provide targeted functionality, tailored to your user's specific needs. Responsive layouts are the foundation that allows your forms to work across a variety of devices, but they also open the door for deeper customizations when needed. Whether you're preparing a basic form or a complex multi-tab layout, the principles of responsive design help ensure that all users, no matter what device they're on, get the same value from your app. It's all about accessibility, consistency, and usability. As we move into the next section, we'll take this idea even further by introducing custom canvas pages and explaining how they can be used to complement responsive layouts. If model-driven forms provide structure and consistency, custom pages add flexibility and creativity. Together, these tools allow you to design app experiences that are as functional as they are user-friendly. Let's see how you can use them to push the limits of your Power Apps forms. Integrating custom canvas pages for enhanced functionality. What if you could harness the structured power of model-driven apps while also tapping into the creative flexibility of Canvas apps? This is exactly what the new custom canvas pages feature allows you to do. By integrating custom pages into your model-driven apps, you can build components that go beyond the functionality of standard forms, giving your users a richer, more personalized experience. This approach combines the data-driven foundation of model-driven apps with the freedom to design interactive, visually appealing interfaces. Standard model-driven forms are excellent at displaying structured data, managing relationships, and providing a consistent experience across devices. However, they aren't always ideal when you need something more dynamic, such as advanced visuals, tailored user interactions, or layouts optimized for particular workflows. Even with thoughtful design and advanced components like subgrids or quick view forms, there's still a limit to how much customization you can add to a standard form. This is where integrating custom canvas pages can make all the difference. Custom canvas pages let you insert fully customizable pages into your app, creating unique interfaces while still connecting closely to the structured Dataverse data. It's worth mentioning that these canvas pages don't replace your model-driven forms. They enhance them. They give you a way to tackle specific use cases where the out-of-the-box features don't quite meet your needs. For example, if you want to add interactive dashboards with custom buttons, animations, or highly visual data summaries, canvas pages allow you to build exactly that without disrupting the existing structure of your app. So how do you set up a custom page in a model-driven app? It starts by creating the page using the Canvas App Designer. This environment gives you complete control over every element on the screen, from buttons to charts to images. Once your page is designed, you can integrate it into your model-driven app by configuring navigation links or embedding the custom page directly into certain areas, such as forms or dashboards. Microsoft has improved the tools for linking Canvas pages to existing data sources in Dataverse, so you can maintain a connected experience. It's not a separate app, but an extension of your model-driven app. For example, let's say you're designing an app for employee management. The core app includes model-driven forms and views to handle standard information like personnel records, performance reviews, and organizational charts. A custom page could be used for an interactive payroll dashboard, complete with visualization widgets for monthly salary summaries, overdue payments, and performance bonus tracking. From this page, users could even trigger workflows like sending salary slips via email or updating payment status, all from a single screen. The Canvas page overlays specific functionality on top of the structured system you've already created. Another great use for custom pages is building tailored input forms or guided workflows. For instance, imagine you're designing a customer service app. Standard model-driven forms are excellent for displaying case details and managing related tasks. But what if you want to create a specific workflow for service agents to follow when responding to a case? A Canvas page could provide a step-by-step interface that dynamically guides users based on predefined business rules. These rules could include scripts to follow or next best action recommendations based on the case type. The flexibility of Canvas design allows you to simplify and customize even complex workflows. The magic of custom Canvas pages lies in their ability to bridge structured data with a tailored UI. In a traditional model-driven form, making design changes is mostly about rearranging sections or adjusting visibility settings. While this works well for many cases, it doesn't allow for features like animated visuals, drop-down menus with personalized options, or interactive charts that users can filter in real time. By embedding a Canvas page, you can break out of rigid design constraints and create polished, visually engaging components that your users will find intuitive and enjoyable to use. Take another example, a project management app. The model-driven side of the app can handle core data structures, such as project records, task assignments, and team calendars. However, some users might need a dashboard where they can drag and drop tasks to reassign them, visualize dependencies on a Gantt chart, or quickly filter through projects based on budget or priority. These are very specific needs that aren't easy to meet with standard model-driven forms. A custom Canvas page allows you to design these features exactly how you want, embedded seamlessly into the app, as if the functionality was native. However, it's essential to realize that integrating custom Canvas pages introduces a balance you'll need to manage between flexibility and consistency. While these pages give you the freedom to design stunning visuals or complex custom workflows, they also risk creating inconsistencies if not aligned with your overall app design. Imagine an app where the main model-driven pages follow one style, structured and straightforward. But a custom Canvas page suddenly feels like a completely separate app, using mismatched fonts, colors, or navigation elements. To avoid this, reusing consistent branding elements like design themes, button styles, and icons is crucial. This ensures that users experience the app as one cohesive system, regardless of whether they're on a standard form or a custom Canvas page. From a practical perspective, connecting these custom pages to your data sources is equally critical. Custom pages use Dataverse tables just like model-driven forms, which maintains your app's data integrity. For instance, if you've developed a Canvas page to allow managers to review employee schedules for the upcoming week, this page can pull data directly from the same employee tables used in standard forms. If a manager adds a new shift or changes someone's availability in the Canvas page, the changes instantly sync back to the database, ensuring the app data remains up to date across all areas. Performance is another consideration when adding custom pages. While Canvas pages bring unmatched flexibility in design, they typically require more effort to optimize than standard forms. For example, if your Canvas page includes a lot of visuals like charts, galleries, or dynamically loaded content, performance might take a hit on devices with slower internet connections or limited processing power. To avoid lags or slow loading times, always consider how much content you're trying to include on a single Canvas page. Simplicity often wins when it comes to ensuring smooth performance. You can further optimize by preloading data or caching commonly used datasets. In terms of user scenarios, custom Canvas pages shine in apps where user interaction and decision-making are central to success. For apps focused purely on managing or displaying data, the benefits of custom pages may be limited because model-driven forms handle those scenarios quite well on their own. But when you need to create a dashboard, design a tailored input process, or combine multiple data sources into one actionable interface, custom pages open up possibilities you simply wouldn't have with the standard tools. Use them sparingly and strategically to solve targeted challenges or provide unique user experiences. Another point to keep in mind is the role of custom Canvas pages in collaboration. By combining them with other Power Platform features like Power Automate or Power BI, you can create fully integrated apps that go well beyond basic forms. For example, a Canvas page embedded in a sales app could pull data from Power BI to show visual forecasts, then trigger a Power Automate workflow to alert team members if goals are at risk. The page becomes more than just a design, it's an actionable tool for decisions and collaboration. So why does blending structured data with a flexible design matter? It's because apps, especially in business environments, need to cater to a variety of user roles, goals, and workflows. Some users thrive with structured, straightforward forms, like those in model-driven apps. Others need more freedom or highly customized tools that help them engage better with data. By combining both approaches in a single app, you're building an experience that adjusts to users rather than forcing them to adjust to the app. In summary, custom Canvas pages let you push beyond the limitations of standard forms to create more interactive, visually appealing, and user-centric components. They combine the structured data foundation of model-driven apps with the creative potential of Canvas design, offering a perfect bridge between functionality and flexibility, You can use them to build dashboards, guided workflows, or custom tools that tackle specific use cases while keeping everything tied to your core Dataverse data. As you move forward, identifying when to use standard form components and when to introduce custom pages will become a key skill. In the next section, we'll cover how to evaluate these choices based on user needs, app complexity, and business goals. By understanding the strengths and limitations of each component, you'll be better equipped to make decisions that strike the right balance between structure and creativity. Let's explore how to choose the right tools for every situation. When should you use advanced components? When you're designing forms in model-driven Power Apps, the standard features often get the job done. They're effective for capturing and displaying data in a clean, user-friendly way. But there's a point where you may need to go beyond just enough. The question is, are standard forms enough for your business needs? Or is it time to incorporate advanced components like subgrids, quick view forms, or even custom canvas pages? Let's walk through how to make that decision. The first thing to understand is that adding advanced components isn't always about making your forms more complex. It's about solving specific problems or meeting specific needs that standard forms can't address. Without clear goals, the temptation can be to overcomplicate the form simply because the option is available. This is one of the most common pitfalls designers face. Overloading a form with unnecessary features can create confusion instead of clarity. To judge whether an advanced component is necessary, a good starting point is to review your app's purpose and its users. Ask yourself, what tasks do users need to complete within this form? For instance, if the form is used by a sales team, they might want to see and manage sales pipelines directly from the account record. In this case, a subgrid displaying opportunities that are tied to the account would make their workflow smoother and more efficient. On the other hand, if a form is meant to display high-level summaries, like a contact form showing key details about the associated account, a quick view form might be the better fit. Both components serve important but very different purposes. Subgrids, for example, shine in scenarios where users need to interact with multiple related records from the same place. Let's say you're managing a sales app. An account form without a subgrid might only display information about the account itself, but an account form with a subgrid can also display all associated opportunities or contacts in a clean tabular format. This not only cuts down on navigation time, but also gives users a clear overview of critical related data. They can quickly check the status of opportunities, review leads, or even update information directly in the subgrid, all without leaving the account record. So, when should you use a subgrid? It's most helpful in situations where related records play a crucial part in the user's workflow. For example, in a retail app, an order form might include a subgrid showing all related shipments. Users can track shipment statuses or confirm delivery on the same screen. In a project management app, a project form might include a subgrid for tasks, where project leads could monitor what's completed and what's outstanding. When users need this type of visibility or direct interaction with related data, subgrids prove their value. But not every related data scenario needs a subgrid. Sometimes all that's required is a quick reference to another record. That's where quick view forms come in. These forms provide a snapshot of parent record details within a child record. For example, let's say you're viewing a contact record. A quick view form could display high-level details about the parent account, such as the account name, industry, and key customer preferences. It's read-only and designed to help users quickly find the information they need about a related record without switching screens. The simplicity of quick view forms makes them ideal for scenarios where full interaction isn't necessary. Consider an invoicing app where each invoice is tied to an account. On the invoice form, a quick view form could show the account's billing address and contact info. Subgrids wouldn't make sense here because you're not showing multiple related records. Instead, quick view forms keep the layout clean while still surfacing vital information. The decision between a quick view form and a subgrid depends on whether the end goal is to summarize data or interact with a broader set of related records. Then we have custom canvas pages, which are a step beyond either subgrids or quick view forms. These aren't just about displaying data, they're about rethinking how users interact with it. Canvas pages let you integrate features like drag and drop functionality, interactive dashboards, or guided workflows that wouldn't be possible in a standard form. To determine whether a custom Canvas page is warranted, think about workflows that standard forms just can't accommodate easily. For example, you might be building a service app where users manage customer tickets. While standard forms can handle basic ticket details, a Canvas page could include an interactive dashboard summarizing ticket metrics alongside buttons for common actions like assign technician or escalate issue. If your app requires more interactivity or specific user flows, Canvas pages offer a level of flexibility that no other component provides. It's also important to think about who will use the form and how their needs differ. Advanced components can be a huge asset, but not every user benefits from their added complexity. An administrator creating reports might need detailed subgrids and custom dashboards, but a field service technician might only need quick view forms showing the most essential details. Tailoring advanced components to the role and context of the user ensures that you're enhancing functionality without making the experience more complicated than it needs to be. Assessing the complexity of your app also plays a big role in deciding whether advanced components are the right move. For simpler apps with fewer data relationships, standard forms can handle most use cases effectively. But as the app grows in complexity, whether due to more tables, workflows, or users, advanced components can help streamline processes and maintain usability. For example, a small HR app might function fine with basic employee and department forms. However, as the app evolves to include performance metrics, training history, and benefits tracking, advanced components like subgrids for training records or custom pages for benefits enrollment provide much-needed scalability. Advanced tools aren't just for high-level functionalities, they're also for future-proofing your app. There's also a balancing act when it comes to deciding how many advanced components to add. While it's tempting to include every tool Power Apps offers, overcomplicating the interface can overwhelm users. Just because you can use subgrids, quick view forms, and custom pages all on the same form doesn't mean you should. Instead, think about which feature solves the most pressing problem and start there. For example, if a form feels cluttered, consolidating related data with a quick view form might clean up the layout. But if the problem is that users spend too much time navigating across screens, a subgrid that shows related records in line might be more impactful. Prioritization is key. Begin by identifying the user's pain points. Are sales reps spending too much time hunting down opportunity records? Add a subgrid to the account form. Are customer service agents struggling to find account details while answering calls? Include a quick view form on the case record. Are managers requesting advanced reporting capabilities for monthly reviews? Build a custom Canvas page to house interactive dashboards. Tying your design choices to user needs ensures that every advanced component you add serves a purpose. Another consideration is how these components interact with the data relationships in your app. Subgrids and quick view forms rely on well-defined relationships in Dataverse to function. Subgrids work best when you've set up a clear parent-child relationship, such as an account table linked to an opportunities table. Quick view forms depend on many-to-one relationships where child records are tied directly to a parent. Custom Canvas pages, on the other hand, don't rely as heavily on these relationships and can combine datasets in ways that might not have direct connections in Dataverse. For example, let's revisit the sales pipeline scenario. You could use subgrids to show related opportunities on an account form and quick view forms to surface the account owner's details within an opportunity form. Meanwhile, a custom Canvas page could act as a central dashboard where sales managers track all pipelines, filter data by region, and trigger actions like assigning leads or generating reports. The trick isn't just knowing which advanced component to use, it's knowing when to use it. As a designer, your role is to enhance usability without cluttering forms or slowing performance. Simple forms remain effective for streamlined workflows, but advanced features shine where they address pain points or introduce functionality that would otherwise be missing. To sum it up, advanced components like subgrids, quick view forms, and custom pages are powerful tools, but they should be implemented based on specific user needs and app requirements. Subgrids help make related data accessible directly within forms. Quick view forms provide concise overviews of parent data, and custom canvas pages open the door to creating unique interactive experiences. The decision to use these features should always aim to balance complexity with simplicity. As we dive further, the next topic will explore how these advanced components tie into the relationships between your app's data. These relationships are the backbone of any model-driven form, and designing them effectively makes advanced components even more powerful. Let's take a closer look at how to align data relationships with user-centric design. Bringing it all together, designing for data relationships. When you think about what makes an app truly effective, one of the first things to focus on is how it connects and displays data relationships. How a form handles related data can either make the app simple and intuitive or leave users frustrated trying to piece together information that doesn't flow. So, how do advanced components like subgrids and quick view forms help create that seamless flow of information? Let's break it down. Relationships between data tables are at the core of any model-driven app. Whether it's customers linked to orders, projects connected to tasks, or employees tied to departments, these relationships define how your app organizes and surfaces information. If these relationships are designed and displayed effectively, they allow users to see not just isolated data points, but how different elements relate to each other in a meaningful way. On the other hand, poor relationship design often leads to disconnected user experiences. Imagine an online retail app where a sales rep is looking at a customer record, but there's no clear way to view the customer's recent orders or payment history. To find that information, the user might need to manually search other areas of the app, switching screens multiple times. This process can be time-consuming, cause frustration, and lead to inefficiency. Worse, without clear connections, users can lose trust in the app's ability to deliver the information they need. Advanced components like subgrids and quick view forms are specifically designed to solve challenges like these. They act as tools to showcase relationships between data tables directly within a form, reducing navigation and improving the overall user experience. But let's start with subgrids. A subgrid is essentially a table embedded within a form that displays related records. For instance, in a retail app, an account form might use a subgrid to show all related orders placed by that customer. Users can immediately see the order ID, date, and total amount without leaving the account form. Subgrids are particularly useful in many-to-one and one-to-many relationships. In the case of customers and orders, the relationship is one-to-many, meaning one customer can have multiple orders. Subgrids allow you to surface all those related records in a single view. For example, a sales rep looking at a customer record might need to quickly check if any recent orders are still pending. With a subgrid, they can do this directly within the customer form instead of opening individual order records. Adding functionality to subgrids also enhances user efficiency. Features like sorting, filtering, or inline editing give users more control. Let's take the sales rep example further. If the subgrid allows filtering for pending orders only, the sales rep can focus on what needs immediate action. Or, with inline editing enabled, they could update the status of an order without leaving the form. These enhancements turn the form into a hub of productivity, where users can not only view data, but also take action when needed. Quick view forms, on the other hand, provide a different approach to displaying relationships. Instead of listing multiple related records like subgrids, quick view forms focus on summarizing details for a single parent record. They're ideal for one-to-many relationships where the focus is on accessing high-level parent information. For example, if you're working on an invoice form, a quick view form might display the associated account's name, billing address, and primary contact details. This reduces the need to open a separate account form, streamlining the user workflow. The contrast between subgrids and quick view forms is worth noting because their roles are complementary. Subgrids are about showing the many, multiple related records, while quick view forms focus on the one, providing an overview of the parent record. A powerful way to leverage both is to combine them in a single form. For example, in a customer service app, a case form could include a quick view form showcasing key account details, while a subgrid displays all previous cases related to the same account. This combination gives the user both broad context and specific actionable data without forcing them to navigate between multiple areas of the app. One of the biggest benefits of these advanced components is how they keep users focused. When data is presented within the same form, users don't need to jump between pages or switch context to find what they need. For example, a retail app with an order form might include a subgrid to show all payments linked to that order, allowing sales reps to quickly see if any payments are overdue. Instead of navigating to the payments module, searching for the order, and then checking the payment records, everything is right in front of them. By reducing the effort required to find related data, subgrids and quick view forms significantly improve productivity. The design of data relationships also has a massive impact on usability. Well-structured relationships allow you to better organize your app's forms and views. Take a project management app as an example. The relationship between projects and tasks is a classic one-to-many setup. A project form could use a subgrid to list all tasks, showing their statuses and deadlines, while a quick view form could summarize the project owner's details. This structure ensures that all related data flows naturally and keeps users on task without unnecessary navigation. Another use case is many-to-many relationships, which can occur when a record in one table can relate to multiple records in another table and vice versa. For example, in a training app, courses and participants might have a many-to-many relationship. A course form could utilize a subgrid to list all enrolled participants, making it easy for administrators to track attendance. In the same way, a participant form could include a subgrid showing all courses they've attended. This bidirectional clarity helps various user roles, whether course instructors, administrators, or participants, access the information they need without a hassle. What makes these components even more effective is how well they integrate with performance-oriented workflows. For instance, a subgrid showing overdue invoices on a customer form isn't just a passive display of data. It invites action. Users can click directly into an overdue invoice record or filter for high-priority accounts. Similarly, a quick view form might highlight the account manager overseeing a particular client, enabling users to instantly know who to contact if there's an issue. These small efficiency gains add up across workflows, saving users time and reducing errors. The usability improvements from advanced components don't come automatically, though. They depend on designing effective underlying data relationships. Poorly designed relationships can lead to confusing layouts, slower performance, and a scattered experience where related data isn't where users expect it to be. For example, if an app handles orders but doesn't set up clear relationships between orders, payments, and customers, subgrids and quick view forms won't have the necessary structure to display this data accurately. Once your data relationships are well designed, the next step is to test how users actually interact with these components. Even with advanced features, the goal is still to simplify, not complicate. If a subgrid has too many columns or a quick view form is overloaded with fields, users might end up missing key information. For example, in a sales pipeline app, limiting a subgrid to show only the opportunity name, value, and stage reduces clutter and ensures users focus on what matters most. Similarly, a quick view form for an account should prioritize showing contact details and account value rather than listing every possible field from the table. When advanced components are used effectively, the results speak for themselves. Users not only complete tasks faster, but also experience less cognitive strain because the app feels more intuitive. Everything they need is in one place, and data relationships are clear and logical. This clarity isn't just a convenience, it's what keeps users engaged and confident in the app's functionality. Integrating components like subgrids and quick view forms into your forms is about more than just displaying data. It's about creating an experience where information stays connected, workflows stay focused, and navigation becomes seamless. Whether it's a retail app tracking orders and payments, a project management tool organizing tasks, or a training app registering participants. Advanced components play a key role in making your app usable and efficient. As we move into the final section, the focus shifts to how these enhanced features impact performance. Adding advanced components can unlock incredible functionality, but it's important to ensure the app remains responsive and lightweight, especially for data-heavy use cases. A well-designed app doesn't just organize data effectively, it also optimizes performance to keep users moving forward without delays. Let's look at how thoughtful design balances functionality and speed in apps with advanced components. Performance considerations with advanced features. Can adding too many features slow down your app? It's a question worth asking, especially when you start incorporating advanced components like subgrids, quick view forms, and custom canvas pages into your model-driven app. While these features can enhance usability and improve workflows, they come with trade-offs, and it's important to understand how they can impact performance and overall user experience. The first trade-off to consider is complexity versus speed. Advanced components like subgrids and custom pages rely on pulling data dynamically from the Dataverse. The more data they process and display, the greater the performance impact can be, especially if your app deals with large data sets or operates across distributed teams with varied network speeds. For example, a subgrid that loads hundreds of related records can take longer to display and make the entire form feel less responsive. Add multiple subgrids and the problem multiplies. This can lead to frustrated users waiting for pages to load or features to respond. Caching also plays a role here, but sometimes caching large amounts of data can feel like a double-edged sword. It can speed things up when done correctly, but if the cache is overloaded, it can actually degrade performance over time. It's a fine balance, and knowing when and how much data to cache is critical. One effective strategy is identifying the most used data in your app that users frequently need immediate access to, like recent activity records or high-priority account details, and caching only that data. This targeted approach helps maintain form speed without overwhelming your app with unnecessary storage requirements. Another challenge comes from misusing highly dynamic components like quick view forms, which display parent record data. While these components are lightweight compared to subgrids, placing multiple quick view forms on a single screen can have a surprising impact over time. Why? Every quick view form makes a query to the parent table in Dataverse, and if you're dealing with a heavily queried record system, the extra load can add up. For example, imagine a scenario where a sales form includes two quick view forms, one showing the regional manager's details and another showing account billing details. If every single sales record in the system spawns those queries repeatedly as users navigate, the performance impact isn't hard to imagine. One way to optimize this is to limit the number of quick view forms on any given screen and ensure that they're pulling only essential fields rather than retrieving a large number of unnecessary details. Subgrids, being more data-heavy, require a similar level of care. While a single subgrid to display related contacts on an account form may not slow down performance significantly, having 3 or more subgrids on the same form, each fetching data from large tables, can introduce noticeable lag. For example, imagine an HR management app with a form for tracking job applications. And that form has one subgrid for past experience records, another for scheduled interviews, and a third for references. Without proper optimization, the app may run smoothly when opening the form once or twice, but for HR teams working on dozens of records daily, the load times will start to add up. A practical solution is to limit subgrid records per page. By showing only the most recent 10 to 20 rows and offering filtering or pagination for users to access additional data, you can drastically improve load times while still preserving functionality. Speaking of limiting records, look at performance bottlenecks caused by unrestricted queries. By default, subgrids and other components may fetch all related data matching their filters, even if the user only needs to see a subset. A good practice is to implement filtering logic that ensures only relevant, actionable data is pulled into the subgrid. For example, in a ticketing system, you could filter a subgrid to show only open support cases instead of loading every historical ticket. This keeps subgrid performance snappy while making the most useful data available upfront. Filters save time for users and ensure the app processes only what's necessary. To keep performance on track, testing forms regularly is a must. While the app designer provides a lot of immediate visual feedback, real-world scenarios can behave differently, especially when dealing with production datasets or slower networks. Testing forms for responsiveness and load times before deployment is critical to identify bottlenecks early. Start by emulating different use cases for different users. How long does it take for a form to load when multiple subgrids and quick view forms are included? What happens when a custom canvas page fetches data from multiple tables? Does performance remain usable on mobile devices? Performance testing tools, such as the diagnostics tools in the Power Apps Maker portal, offer metrics that can help you pinpoint areas where optimization is needed, from database query times to rendering delays. Another factor to think about is how users will access your app. Apps that are primarily used on desktops often tolerate more data-intensive features than those accessed on mobile devices. Mobile networks may not always match the speed or reliability of wired connections, making excessive form loading times even more noticeable. If you know that a significant portion of your app's user base works on mobile, you'll need to optimize accordingly. For example, you can design mobile-friendly tabs that only load lightweight, quick view forms instead of heavier subgrids when accessed on smaller devices. Alternatively, using responsive layouts to rearrange or hide certain components on mobile screens can ensure the forms remain simple and functional for users on the go. One technique that works well across all device types is preloading data. For example, if users frequently access forms that display the same base records, you can preload commonly accessed datasets during the app's initial load, rather than making separate queries for each individual element on a form. By reducing the number of database calls, preloading improves speed significantly, especially for forms that rely heavily on multiple advanced components. Keep in mind, though, that preloading should be used sparingly for critical data. Preloading too much can have the opposite effect and bog down your app's initial load time. Balancing functionality and speed also means being intentional about which advanced components you choose to include. Custom Canvas pages, for example, are incredibly powerful for creating tailored workflows, but they require more resources than standard forms. If you're embedding custom Canvas pages into your app, avoid designing them as catch-all solutions that handle every possible interaction. Instead, focus on one specific function per page. For example, a custom page designed to track KPIs could focus solely on aggregating metric data from a project table rather than including unrelated features like user feedback or global search. By narrowing the scope, you reduce the load time and give users a clean, focused interface. Another tip is to periodically evaluate your app's usage data and remove features that aren't delivering value. It's easy to think more components equal more functionality, but if users aren't engaging with certain elements like a subgrid for historical data or a custom page for rarely accessed workflows, it may be worth scaling back. Regularly reviewing user feedback and analytics can help you identify elements that are seldom used and may be contributing to performance slowdowns. Removing or scaling down features that don't add value is often more beneficial than trying to optimize around them. At the same time, remember that performance isn't just about system speed. It's also about creating a smooth experience for users. Even small design choices like making sure that tabs load their content asynchronously rather than all at once can improve the perception of app responsiveness. For example, if your app includes a dashboard that loads multiple subgrids or charts, prioritize rendering high-priority components first. This gives users the ability to start interacting with the form while background elements finish loading. Balancing technical performance with user-perceived speed enhances the overall experience significantly. Careful planning plays the biggest role in ensuring that advanced features don't compromise app performance. By considering which components to include, optimizing how much data they process, and testing thoroughly across different scenarios, you can achieve the best of both worlds, advanced functionality without sacrificing speed. A lean form with targeted features will always deliver a better user experience than a complex form overloaded with unnecessary elements. Choose features that solve real problems, avoid introducing complications for the sake of extra functionality, and optimize wherever you can. Ultimately, the goal is to strike a balance. Advanced components like subgrids, quick view forms, and custom pages give you incredible flexibility to design apps that are both powerful and user-friendly, but they also demand thoughtful design choices to avoid introducing avoidable performance issues. Focus on what your users need most, test thoroughly, and optimize continuously. By doing so, you'll ensure that your app's performance keeps up with the demands of its functionality. With that, we've covered the most important strategies for managing app performance when working with advanced components. In the final section, we'll tie everything together, reviewing the key lessons from this deep dive into model-driven forms and looking ahead to how you can apply these techniques to build even better Power Apps. Let's wrap this up with some final insights. Advanced components like subgrids, quick view forms, and custom canvas pages take model-driven forms from functional to impactful. They simplify how users interact with data, making workflows faster and more intuitive. These tools solve real challenges by organizing relationships, improving navigation, and empowering app users to focus on tasks instead of searching for information. So, what's the next step? Begin experimenting with these components. Start small. Add a subgrid to a form, try a quick view form, or explore the potential of a custom page. These additions can transform how your app works. The possibilities are endless. Where will you take your forms next?